shoot a demonstration on how to create a long-term pollinator garden for anybody that doesn't have your traditional garden. We get a lot of people that come in, oh, I can't grow this stuff, I would love to, but I can't, because they have a condo or they have some other, we'll call it confined space. And so what I wanted to do is show you exactly what you can do about that particular problem. And the easiest way, it's with a pot. All right. Now, this pot is brand new. You can see I just purchased it. So what I really wanted to demonstrate is that creating a long-term pot. This is the size to start with. 24 inches minimum, 18 to 24 inches deep. So if you're trying to have something that's going to last for multiple seasons and you're trying to create that small space garden, this is the most ideal size. You can get bigger if you like, but this is the most manageable. And you're looking for plastic pots. Ceramic ones, because you're going to be leaving them outside on a year-to-year basis, will do what? Fracture. So what you're trying to do is when you want to pick something out that it's actually double walled. So you'll have a wall, and you'll hear that hollowness to it, because you want that pot to be able to expand and contract. All right, now this one, if you noticed, there are no holes for drainage. And depending on what kind of garden that you're going to put into it, say like this one, I'm just going to put a standard prairie garden into it. So I'm going to take my drill and I'm going to drill holes in the bottom of the pot so that I have regular drainage throughout the entire soil column. Now, if you wanted to grow things that are more like they like it really, really wet, then you would turn the pot on its side and drill a hole at the appropriate depth at multiple locations around. Now, you're looking for about 1 inch of open space. So use a 1/4 inch drill bit if you like. 4 holes are your typical, all right? And what you're trying to do then is make sure that drainage is spread out at the height that you're looking to hold that water table. Now, if you're going to hold water in your pot, you have to make sure that that material that you're having low down is not going to become, we'll call it septic. So you're going to want to use a nice aerated mix, all right? So first things first. Oh, hello everybody back here. Take your drill and drill your holes. And the second thing is, and maybe the more important thing is getting the right material in for long-term plant use. You want the mix that is going to be long-term stable, like we talked about. So the mix that we use here is that 1/2 inch, like he was talking about earlier, is that soil mix that has got that long-release fertilizer, and I just lost my train of thought, my apologies. But the long release fertilizer in it, along with the micronutrients. And you're going to want to take some of that. You're going to want to put a layer in. Spread it out. Now, once that layer is in, this is where it gets a little funny and where opinions will vary. All right. So some people like throwing in compost. All right. Some people like throwing in clay balls. I did not form them into clay. The balls, what you typically do, mostly because, frankly, I didn't want to wet it down and get my hands all messy this morning. And some people like throwing in mulch. This pot, properly constructed, should be good as a small pollinator garden for 3 to 5 years. Okay. Now, I prefer clay. And why do you want to use clay? Anybody tell me? Holds the moisture, but why else do I want to use clay? Well, it's not just what we have here, but it's actually the micronutrients and everything like that are in clay are good for our local species. Okay, and again, it's a nice moisture sink, so it's going to hold that moisture in that pot. And I also like mixing in a small bit of compost. And the reason why I'm mixing a small bit of compost is because this is older, or it's a fresher mix, and I want to make sure that I have as much nutrient and water absorption material in the pot at particular levels. The clay lowest, compost, so what you'll do is you'll then layer, my poor back. You layer these things in, you spread it out. You can mix it up a little bit, but you don't. It's better if you kind of create layers, because then the roots are going to find their own level inside that pot. Now again, there are going to be different kinds of soils that are going to be available all over the place. And what you're looking for is a soil that is going to leave dirt on your hands, but not coat it like we talked about. It's not going to stain your fingers. That's older material. You do not want that as part of your mix. Re-wetting it, getting nutrients out of it are going to be detrimental and harder for the plants to deal with. A pot this size can hold about 6 to 8 individual prairie plants and be, you know, we'll call it happy. The species that I have chosen today, well, by the way, always plant the grass. Always plant the grass. The species that we're using today is Sporobolus liatris. Oh, thank you. Always plant the grass in your garden and in your pots. Let's see. Well, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. So the grass I've chosen today is Sporobolus. I have a liatris here. I have an aster. I have a tradescantia. I have an allium, and I have a milkweed, because you know they're all the rage. So what you're trying to do, though, is spread your bloom period out in a miniature pollinator garden as much as possible. You're hitting early season, mid-season, and later season. Therefore, this pot is going to also change over time. And how you manage that is, one, plant all species that would be normally found together in nature, so that you're not having different watering regimes per different parts of the pot. All right? And it also makes it much easier to construct a pot. So things that grow together in nature typically are going to be more tolerant of one another in a confined space. And once you have your layout that you like, and I personally, you know, does this look good to everybody? Yeah, me too. Perfect. Here, pass that pot around. You can see the root system that I'm looking for and the plants that remember how I told you, shake it all you want, nothing's going to come off of this thing, right? Effectively, what you're looking to do, and because the soil is now fluffy, it has not been watered in, so there hasn't been any of the air knocked out of it. Normally what I would do is I would take a big pot of water, or a bucket of water like this, and I would take these and you hold it down in the pot until the bubbles stop coming out of it. That will reduce transplant stress on these plants going into what is effectively a dry mix. Now, I'm not doing that here because I have to carry it over there, but what'll happen is that once we move this over to this other spot, we're going to heavily water this in. You cannot water this enough the first couple of days, especially if you're using a nice porous mix. So once these plants are in here, you're going to be watering it once, twice a day if you like, but don't overdo it. And these plants will then become acclimated to this pot. And the roots that we're talking about, you can see these are younger Sporobolus. You can see here that those roots are different color, but they're actively growing. And they're going to be just fine going in. So some of these plants are going to be younger than others, like this tradescantia, for example. That's a monster root system. You can also see that with the weird white patches. That's that fungal association that we were talking about. And you're looking for that under good conditions. Pardon me. By the way, always have a little extra soil by your side just in case.
So if we can't get the 30 yards delivered to our homes,
yes.
What are we thinking is the right,
That is going to, you know what, typically what happens is a lot of garden centers will actually have a proprietary mix that they have available. And if they have something that's good and available to you, try and use it. If it's not any good, don't use it again. Here's the liatris. Again, this plant was seed in February.
Wow.
That's the kind of root system that we like to produce around here. There you go. And you can, if I hadn't been talking, this is, by the way, this is Sullivan's milkweed, or Asclepias sylvanii. You can use butterfly weed if you like, but it's too much of a prima donna for me, so I like to go a different way. I'm a contrary kind of guy.
No.
I'm glad you guys are playing right today.